Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez arrives at Misano, still the dominant figure of 2025, even after his first defeat since May. With a huge championship lead and Ducati's constructors' crown confirmed, the weekend is likely to be a celebration of the factory's success, albeit one that could be complicated by a mixed reception from a passionate local crowd. Marquez called Misano more suited to my style, and described the round as a weekend dedicated to all the Ducati fans. After a weekend that swung from hope in Hungary to frustration in Barcelona, Francesco Bagnaia is keeping expectations deliberately low ahead of his home round at Misano. The Ducati rider admitted the Balaton setup gamble didn't translate to Montmeló, so he's choosing restraint, no more big overnight changes at a GP, and plans to wait for Misano to measure true progress. Fabio Quartararo completed Yamaha's behind closed doors Barcelona V4 outing with a headline lap, a reported 1 minute and 39.4 seconds that set the pace in an afternoon session limited by morning rain. The private run, which came a week before the V4's public debut at Misano, delivered an early snapshot of the new prototype's potential, but Yamaha and Quartararo were careful to temper excitement with the usual testing caveats. Luca Marini arrives at his home race in Misano buoyed by recent progress and keen to reward local fans. After a mixed 2024 and a season interrupted by injury, Marini has lifted his form in 2025, pushing the Honda into the top 6 and scoring 82 points despite missing rounds, and believes Misano, a circuit he enjoys, offers a real opportunity to build on that momentum. Teammate Joan Mir, meanwhile, is targeting a qualifying step to turn promising practice pace into stronger grid positions. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Marquez's defeat in Catalonia means he won't secure the title at Misano, but his 182-point advantage and the remaining points on offer make this weekend an unofficial celebration of Ducati's season. The statistical position gives him room to race with a championship mindset while still hunting race wins. It will be a weekend dedicated to all the Ducati fans. I can't wait to get out on track. Even without a mathematical finish, Misano is set to be a significant chapter in a dominant campaign. Marquez believes Misano plays to his strengths, a layout that rewards his riding characteristics more than Barcelona did. That matchup of rider and track explains part of his optimism heading into the San Marino weekend. Misano is a track more suited to my style. Track geometry and rhythm can make a measurable difference, and Marquez's record at Misano suggests he knows how to leverage that advantage. Misano has not always greeted Marquez warmly. Past years saw boos aimed at the Spaniard despite race success. Now in Ducati red, the reception is unresolved. Tardozzi has urged fans to see Marquez's triumphs as Ducati wins, but local feeling can be complicated by long memories and fierce loyalties. The noise in the grandstands matters, and a mixed reception could sharpen the weekend's emotional stakes even if it doesn't affect lap times. Ducati's sustained strength, recent titles and a string of winners, frames this weekend. The gulf between Marquez and teammates like Pecco Bagnaia means the spotlight is on the number 93. Ducati would prefer applause for the factory crown rather than division over the rider carrying it. When one rider becomes the season's face, team optics and fan sentiment both become part of the story. Marquez flagged Motegi as the likely venue for his first genuine title opportunity, but insists Misano remains important. He'll use the weekend to press his advantage, enjoy home Ducati support, and sharpen his approach for the final push of the year. I knew Alex was fast in Catalonia, but Misano suits me. I'm ready to go. With the championship march continuing, the priority is to maintain momentum and keep making measured choices that preserve the title path. Misano presents a familiar mix for Marquez, a track that historically favors him, a paddock celebrating Ducati's success, and grandstands that could be split in their reaction. Whether greeted by cheers or boos, Marquez's task is unchanged: convert a track advantage into clean, controlled results, and keep the focus on the championship running. A huge setup change at Balaton Park briefly restored Bagnaia's confidence, but Barcelona proved a reset was necessary. The rider reverted to a more conventional package after being 21st on Friday and 14th in the sprint, leaving him wary of reading too much into one weekend. "Honestly, I don't want to do the same as Balaton. So I will make a step back, wait until Misano, and see what I can do." When a tweak works one week and fails the next, cautious sequencing of changes is the sensible path. Bagnaia's preference for race trim paid dividends on Sunday, a 5th in warm-up and a recovery to 7th in the Grand Prix. He credits the GP fuel tank for improved traction and corner exits, a setup that often makes him more competitive over race distance. "A bigger fuel tank is helping me always to have more traction and to exit faster from the corner." For Bagnaia, race fuel and full tank geometry remain a reliable window to better feel, even when qualifying form is off. The result masked an underlying deficit. Bagnaia finished around 16 seconds behind winner Alex Marquez and roughly 14.3s back from teammate Marc. Notably, Bagnaia's 2024 race time on the GP24 would have been competitive enough for victory, underlining how package and feeling, not rider ability, are the core issues. The raw gaps show progress, but also the scale of work required to return to consistent front-running pace. Bagnaia is resisting the urge for headline setup experiments during a GP weekend. Instead, he wants a normal weekend at Misano, arrive on Friday with usable speed, avoid Q1, and build from there. That conservative plan aims to rebuild confidence session by session. "I would really like to arrive in Misano with this kind of speed, start already at this point on Friday, and not be out of qualifying too." Reproducible weekend performance, not one-off Sunday recoveries, is the true metric of recovery. Misano is a place of past success for Bagnaia, wins in 2021 and 2022, regular podiums thereafter, so it's tempting to expect a bounce. He welcomes the Ducati fans' support but remains realistic. A strong Misano would be encouraging, yet he won't let it create false hope. "Misano is always special. We'll try to enjoy the embrace of all the Ducati fans." A confident weekend at Misano would be an important step, but only repeatability across circuits will confirm a true comeback. Bagnaia's message is pragmatic. One good Sunday does not a season make. He's chosen consolidation over experimentation, aiming to rebuild confidence and consistent weekend performance at Misano rather than chase headline fixes. If Ducati and Pecco can reproduce Sunday's race comfort from Friday onward, the climb back towards the front will look less steep. Otherwise, Misano will be another checkpoint, not a turning point. Quartararo rode the V4 in a private Monday test at Barcelona after confirming during the GP weekend that, "Yes, we'll test the V4 on Monday." The session had no media access and Yamaha offered no official lap confirmation, but times filtering out of the paddock credit Quartararo with a 1 minute and 39.4 seconds best in the damp to drying afternoon. "Everybody knows. I will test the V4 on Monday." Private tests talk in numbers and impressions rather than headlines. Teams use them to gather comparative data without the pressure of public timing sheets. 1 minute and 39.4 seconds figure looks quick on paper, but Barcelona's changing grip and the strong tire swing between old and new rubber make direct comparisons hazardous. For context, Quartararo's official race weekend times on the inline M1 included a 1 minute and 37.8 seconds front row qualifying lap, a 1 minute and 38.9 seconds sprint best, soft rear, and a 1 minute and 40.4 seconds GP fastest lap, medium rear. A private V4 lap in the 1:39s range is encouraging, but wet morning sessions, different tire usage and unknown fuel loads mean the number is an early indicator, not a verdict. Inside paddock reports put Quartararo 0.7s clear of LCR Honda's Johann Zarco in the afternoon, and roughly a second up on Alex Rins, who was thought to have also sampled the V4. Yamaha, and Honda were the only factories present in Barcelona's closed test. Test rider Augusto Fernandez is set to give the V4 its first public laps at Misano as a wildcard. The field's relative gaps give a quick benchmark, but until more riders and official runs are recorded at Misano, the real picture will remain fuzzy. Quartararo has been candid about expectations. Being within half a second of the current M1 would be a solid early target for the V4. He suggested Yamaha is fully focused on the V4, and hinted that if development goes well, the factory might prioritize the V4 for remaining tests this season. If I try it and I'm less than half a second off my lap time, I think it's a good step. A sub-0.5s gap would mark meaningful parity given development status. Anything closer would be an early sign the V4 is on the right trajectory. Monday's private mileage turns Barcelona into a warm-up for Misano, where Augusto Fernandez will publicly showcase the prototype and Quartararo will run the V4 again in official test time. Yamaha's concession status lets it explore engine architecture changes, but aero and chassis packaging questions remain. The V4's different packaging makes a straightforward parts swap unlikely. The Misano outings will be the first public comparison and the moment for teams and fans to start drawing clearer conclusions. In development terms, Barcelona gave Yamaha a data-rich dress rehearsal. Misano will be the first public exam. Quartararo's 1 minute and 39.4 seconds in Barcelona is a noteworthy opening note for Yamaha's V4 story. Promising, but provisional. The key tests are still to come: official laps at Misano, a broader sample of riders on the prototype, and consistent runs under stable conditions. If Yamaha can hit Quartararo's within half a second target, the V4 will have taken an important early step toward being a viable 2026 solution. Marini underlined the emotional and practical importance of Misano. It's his home race and a track that suits his riding style. Good recent form makes the weekend feel even more special, and his aim is to stay with the front group and give the team and fans something to celebrate. Racing in Misano is always a really special feeling. Our objective is to continue like we have the past few weekends. Home circuits carry extra pressure and reward. Marini wants to turn local support into clear performance gains. Marini used 10th on the grid in Catalonia as a springboard to 8th in the race, a sign the Honda's race pace is improving. That result, plus a strong sprint at Balaton earlier in the season, demonstrates the bike is closing on the leaders in race trim. If qualifying and race setup click at Misano, Marini's recent rhythm suggests he can challenge regularly for top 6 finishes, and maybe more. Joan Mir showed raw speed by topping final practice in Barcelona but then had to recover from 20th to 12th on race day. He believes the team's development is paying off, but single-lap qualifying remains the missing piece. We clearly have potential that is growing. We need to put everything together early in the weekend to capture the top 10 on the grid. Converting practice pace into Q2 starts will be essential for Mir to turn flashes of speed into consistent results. Both riders stayed for a private Honda test after Barcelona to log more laps on the latest chassis. Mir admitted the geometry and chassis changes aren't plug-and-play. They need time and trust to deliver gains, and suggested the team may be a little penalized by testing during the race weekend. The chassis isn't something you put on the track and straight away you feel better. You have to work and trust it. Development often costs short-term continuity. The balance between testing and race preparation will be judged on Misano's results. For Marini, the priority is to repeat the steady race management that earned 8th in Barcelona and translate it into a home track performance. For Mir, it's to solve qualifying weaknesses so that practice form results in cleaner race day options. Both riders want to capitalize on Misano's high grip layout and the team's recent chassis gains. If Marini can harness home advantage and Mir can sharpen single-lap speed, Honda could post one of its stronger Misano showings in recent seasons. Misano offers a focused test for Luca Marini, a chance to reward local fans and consolidate a step forward. For Joan Mir, an opportunity to turn practice promise into better grid positions. Honda's ongoing chassis work and the riders' private testing will be under scrutiny. and the weekend will reveal whether recent progress is repeatable or still a work in progress. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!